What's happening, guys? Welcome back to Dunge Trades, and this is going to be our second little tutorial video just on some kind of TA for beginners, really. This video we're going to be looking at the Fibonacci Retracement tool. Now, some of you may be wondering why I didn't start here, because it's typically the most widely used of the two the two Fibonacci tools, the extension or the retracement. And the reason I started with the extension is basically because I use it much more often than the retracement tool. I find the extension more accurate and more kind of versatile. You can do a lot more with it. Anyway, well, let's get dug into the retracement tool. The retracement tool is typically designed to give you an entry following kind of some pullback, if you like. So, for example, let's use this structure off the lows to, let's assume Bitcoin might be kind of at an area where it might be topping. So let's imagine, oh, why is this frozen? Okay, this is our top, a local top here. Having just pulled from the lows to the top, if this was some toppy behavior, then you would expect that these numbers on the way down would give you an indication of, where you could enter Bitcoin again. All right, so that's it in its fundamental use. You've got some price action, it looks toppy, you want to run a fib retracement and you want to be trying to find an entry. So potentially down here at the 0.5, for example, if Bitcoin decided to have a massive correction. I'm not suggesting that's going to happen, I'm just saying this is an example. The other way people often use it is against previous price structure. So for example, from the top of the all-time high in 2021 to the lows, you get this. And now often people will use this, and it works to some degree, but if I show you another example, you'll see what I mean by the Fibonacci extension being more accurate and more versatile. So we've got this. So in essence, what we're looking at is the resistance areas against previous price structure for Bitcoin. And has it worked? Yeah, I mean, it has to some degree. You can see consolidation around this 0.5, and you can see resistance at where we are at the moment, the 0.618 at 48k. It looks like Bitcoin's going to try for a move above that on. They've got this weekly time frame, so perhaps if we get a weekly close here, then we get the next move up to around about 57k. So this is a kind of inverse retracement, if you like, because we're looking at price against previous structure and looking for areas of resistance on the way up rather than necessarily using it to find entries. Let's just take that off in a moment, and you'll see if I run a Fibonacci extension, you'll see that it adheres to the price in the future better than the retracement gives you. Yep, so here we go. Look, we've got the move down, and you've got Bitcoin. You can see immediately how more accurate it is. The 236 was the initial bit of resistance, then we got this move up, stabbed through the 382 resistance here, and then finally up to this 0.5. So I'd much prefer this, really. And so this is what I would use for targets now, rather than that inverse retracement. I think 55 is going to be the next area, not 57, for example. So, that in essence is your Fibonacci retracement tool. I tend to use it for alts, and I'm going to be coming at the end of this little series, I'm going to be coming up with a very simple strategy you guys can adopt in order to kind of, get yourself good entries and give you good bias for price movements going forward using the Fibonacci retracement, the extension, and a few other indicators I'm going to talk through in the upcoming videos. But let's dig into some lower time frames, because I think it becomes more useful on lower time frames, a retracement. So let's assume again that, in fact, let's do an example in previous price structure. So we've got this pump up here, we've got this kind of sideways and this move up to here. I have not done this before, but I assume that this dump here will have been picked up by the retracement. If we run it from here, if we run it from this kind of point here up to the top of that last one, yes indeed, look, as if by magic. So we forget the price here and this kind of future point. What we've got this move down, and it was captured really nicely on the 0.618. So this was giving you a nice entry. You're going to be looking for, is the price going to break through there? I would certainly have taken a long here, and it's subsequently got the move up. And interestingly, against that, you can see price kind of bounced here at the 328, went straight through there, and now we're moving on up. This is where I would now incidentally drop an extension. So we can use the same tool again. I'll keep going on to the extension, and we can see that if we drop that down here, we're going to get some targets here. Look, just about 50k. So perhaps we'll get a move up to this kind of high end of 50k, and then if it blasts through, I would definitely say around, I was thinking about 55k. This little extension is giving us 54. But get off the extensions, Tim. Come on, it's a retracement video. So yeah, again, this is just used for, ideally giving us an entry. If, let's say, on this microstructure, we run this Fibonacci retracement, we've got, if Bitcoin's toppy here, here's some support areas on the way down. It's as simple as that. So if you're not in Bitcoin at the moment, or you've closed in profit and you want to get back into another position, where's areas of interest? And for me, I would suggest that, well, looking at the structure, go along here to this consolidation. It lines up quite nicely, actually, with the 0.5, just based on this kind of constant attacks at that number here before it eventually broke down. But yeah, this lines up with the 0.5. So there's going to be strong support here. If Bitcoin does pull down here, not suggesting it will, this would certainly provide nice support, as would the 328, to be honest. But yeah, you would watch that if price came forward, and that's the point of this. What I tend to use retracement quite often is in my alts coins. I think there's simpler TA in alts than there is in Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's more complex price structure. Let's get rid of this HPDR for a moment. And what's this chart here? This is Marinade Finance. I'm long Marinade Finance, and yeah, I've actually run a retracement on this from hindy back, as they say in Scotland, a while back. And let's see what it's given us here. It was kind of relatively accurate. I would actually run it from there, rather than the low. So move up, move down, seems to be kind of stuck at the moment in between the 0.786, and I'll be watching for kind of price movements up the way, see if I can squeeze past this 618 and then give us some movement to the upside. So there's a nice example of a retracement giving us, you could see it worked really nicely here. Initially on the pullback it was, giving some support, and when it broke down there, maybe price eventually dips down to this 786 here before some further upside. You can see it's stabbing back into the 618 at the moment, and it's not really getting anywhere. So perhaps this has got a bit of consolidating to do before the next move up. So what other charts am I along at the moment? Lumerin, let's come down. We're on a split chart here. This will be some other stuff I'm getting on with. I'm long Mask. This is a funny price chart, Mask. It's a really interesting one. Let's have a look. If we run from that low there right up to the high, let's see what Mask is up to. Well, these fibs seem quite nice actually. You've gotten this dip really below the 886. You would get pretty bearish and worried, to be honest with you here, but it's recovered from that. Let's see on a higher time frame. Yeah, it recovered relatively quickly, and that's now seems to be support. It's broken up through the 786, and now that seems to be support. So perhaps it'll get a stepping stone going up into the future. But another example of where that's been quite accurate. TO took profits on my TO. Why have I got so many split charts? My word, I must be doing a lot of comparisons. Let's just do it this way. TO, I took a lot of profit on TO, and I flipped into LMR actually. But yeah, this is an extension I've used, and you can see they're pretty good, the extensions. They've worked really nicely here, and some resistance currently here, although I think the real target for me is 760. So for the remainder of my TO position, I'll probably take it here and then 8 back in the future. But that's TO. Let's now run a retracement on TAO for some. Now we wouldn't bother with previous structure, we'd just go for here. So if you're not in TO and you want to get in, these are some nice numbers for you, just about $400, and possibly here. But yeah, if we get a pullback, 400 would be quite a nice area at the 0.5. I think I would date back in about there. All right, so that's the Fibonacci retracement tool. It's a super simple tool to use. You're really just pulling it up. I would suggest the best way to use it is pull it up against price structure when you think it's topping and you want to get an entry from the bottom of a kind of consolidation to the top, and then it's going to give you some support areas on the way back down. All right, I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you liked it, give us a wee like and subscribe. All right, thanks, bye.